supposedly there's an FBI investigation. Now, I have written this. I will do a story again tomorrow. I have written this. If you go to fetchernews.com, you click on Fannin County, you will see a story called The FBI Investigation, Fannin County House of Cards. Now, I went Friday, and I don't have the time to go into this, but I went Friday because, Judge Weingarten dismissed the charges, okay? I, for one, you have the video. Fetcher News did the video from start to finish, so you can make a decision if he did a good job or not. Now, the media's up in arms saying that Judge Weingarten stepped all over the First Amendment, He took, to me, the media to task for the way the media handled things. If you will continue to look, all the media outside of North Georgia, especially one we'll leave unnamed at this time, and one particular person, but several of them, they did no research on anything. Nothing researched. No background at all. All of my articles have backgrounds. I have worked 3 weekends in a row. I worked Independence Day weekend. My wife will tell you, Monday, July, I stayed at the computer. I did background research. I've worked 3 weekends in a row. I have done background research on the campaign finance problem up there that nobody's talking about in Fannin County. That should already be picked up in the state level or the AJC. All the people, $14,000 almost in campaign advertising that's not reported on campaign finance reports. Folks, I have done the research. Every single article I put out, I can look at the camera and tell you I've got hours. My dogs think I'm staying home to be with them. I probably got like 30 hours of research on Saturdays and Sundays. I know I should be going to church. I hear it through the camera. But I'm telling you, because look, my commitment at FetcherNews.com, our commitment to you in North Georgia and the counties we serve is to make sure we bring citizens clear information that nobody else will. And you can go on there, you can read the story. Read the story how in a witness, I went and got all the interviews, folks. Last Friday, okay, you can do this. You say, oh, you can do this. Why did they? I love this. This is what will come out. Oh, why did the DA's office let him look at things? The case is public now, folks. Do you know the open record laws? You can examine records. I mean, this whole damn case here for the last month has been over open records and subpoenas and denied and all this bull in the media. Well, guess what? You can go and you can review them. Yeah, doesn't cost a dime. Look at your open records law. You can go. Now, if you want copies of things, you have to ask for them, but you can review them. So I went and reviewed the case. I put it out on the table. I reviewed the case. I pulled the witness interviews. I got a CD of the witness interviews. I listened to them 3 and 4 times, made notes after notes, got copies of the audio so I could back up everything in my article today. All right? Looked at every bit of it. I have the audio where a person I have the highest respect for, Ruth Jordan up at CNS Bank. I mean, it's public now. I have got the utmost respect for Ruth Jordan, and Ruth Jordan is first class, quality person, honest as the day is long, as the old saying goes, okay? And I've got her audio where she says she never talked to County Attorney Lynn Dawes. I've got the interview where Rita Kirby says right to this is not an interview with the TV show. This is an interview with an investigator, Greg Arp and Christy Odell of the District Attorney's Office with a recorder running, and they know they're talking to law enforcement. They're talking to the DA's investigators. Okay, and you've got perjury and everything like this. So I've got Rita Kirby's interview where she says, hey, Lynn sat right in Bill's office, the 3 of us together, and said she gave him the stookie. And Bill said some choice words. I got Bill Simon's interview, the chairman of the county, where he said, Lynn Dawes told me she gave him the stookie, and how did Mark Thomason get these checks that were illegally cashed? And then I've got where both of them, it's on my story, I got where both of them, Rita Kirby and Bill supposedly in the office, and County Attorney Lynn Dawes is pointing out numbers saying this right here says it's been cashed. It said that Ruth Jordan told her that from CNS Bank. they're on audio, folks. You can go listen to them. Ruth Jordan said, I never met with Lynn. Lynn Doss, according to Bill Simons and Rita Kirby, told them that Ruth Jordan said they'd been cashed. So who was feeding the illegally cashed checks rumor? Who was sending that? Who was telling Mark, go get them, Mark, go get them. We got the information. Who was doing all that? It's all in my story, folks, all in my story. Go to Fannin County, fetchernews.com, Fannin County. Now, the one thing with the subpoena, I'm going to tell you 3 things in the story because I've got 5 minutes. I have put up, so you can see, I've put a link to all of our stories that I've done so far. Then I put 7-1-360, it's at the bottom of the sheet, procedures for financial institutions with regard to third-party claims against deposits and deposit accounts and information relative to such deposits and accounts. I put it up there for you to read because a lot of people are saying they didn't understand the subpoena and why they were discussing this subpoena. I put it up here for you to read. That's there. Okay, I sent questions to Mr. Kiker. Mr. Kiker tells Mr. X. I'm not naming Mr. X. If anybody asks me, in your story, who is Mr. X, the witness, why didn't you name him? I don't want to name the person, but it's public. If you want to go pull the audios and listen to all the audios, you can, and you'll know who that is. But I was not going to name that person in my article. You're welcome to go. It's public record. Okay? Okay? But Mr. Kiker tells Mr. X, he says, hey, Mark had to sign a form and he didn't want to sign the form without representation. He brought it to me. So my understanding is Scott Kiker, see, my understanding from Scott Kiker, the witness said that Scott Kiker was aware and told him that Mark Thomason brought the FBI to Fannin County. Remember, Mark Thomason brought Fox 5 when the N-word started. Wonder who helped that out, huh? Wonder who's pushed this cart all the way from the beginning. Wonder who that person was that's been pushing this cart from day one since the N-word story started, okay? Now, why did Mark Thompson call the FBI? Because he brought them up here. That's what Scott Kiker says. And they had to sign a paper before they would come up. And Mark wanted representation. So my understanding from the witness, it's possible that Scott Kiker is Mark's representation with the FBI. Well, the FBI says, Lynn Doss, county attorney, says she spoke to the FBI 3 times. 3 times. Huh. Wonder if Scott Kiker knew she spoke to the FBI. So what you'll find in my story is a whole list of questions that I have sent County Attorney Lynn Doss, and a whole list of questions that I have sent Mr. Kiker. They have not responded. I put the questions up here so the public would know we are asking the questions here on FYM. They have not responded to my questions. They have not responded to my email or any of these questions. Now, you remember the possible fraud, identity fraud? Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the Union County. If you're listening up there, Union County, I'm coming up to see you, okay? Because this letter from Jeffrey Lang, not from Jeffrey Lang, but from the district attorney in the Etowah Judicial, I think that's what it's called, Judicial Circuit, from District Attorney Jeffrey Lang's office. This letter came from Chase G. Queen, Assistant District Attorney, and it was in the file, and it says, Kenny had contacted Coy Turner about the matter when he was investigating the issue. By Kenny's summary of the case follows. Now, an employee of Blairsville Walmart came to the district attorney's office, and this was what Jeff Giffens said. Jeff Giffens from Walmart came by today inquiring about an investigator, Mark Tomlinson, who works for the Fannin County Probate Court. Tomlinson came by the Blairsville Walmart and met with Jeff. Tomlinson identified himself to Jeff as an investigator with the Fannin County Probate Court, and especially Judge Scott Kiker's investigator. Tomlinson came by for the purpose of requesting Walmart case report on the shoplifting case against Greg Joseph Siphons. Also present with Jeff when the conversation took place with Tomlinson was Caleb Tyler, a Rayburn County, Georgia law enforcement officer. Note, Caleb is a new employee with Walmart Asset Protection Department and was trained with Jeff in Blairsville Walmart. Jeff was not sure why the Fannin Probate County court needed Union County information unless Fannin had a case against Staffens. Jeff gave him the information, and he asked about Jeff, seemingly leery that Thomason might be falsely representing himself. I have that whole letter on my story, the whole letter, you can find it. So I put the whole letter, I put everything on there, all the questions I have asked, and I put so many quotes. Bill Simon says, how that sounds? Bill Simon says, Doss lied, Doss is vindicted. Stay tuned for the Scott Farrell Show. Coming up after these messages, I am BKP, your host, and I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8.